Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome to a best of one Ikoria flashback draft on Arena. I don't play a lot of best of one because I enjoy sideboarding, I enjoy not having matchmaking. However, this is one of my favorite draft formats. It was the first one that you could actually draft on Arena, which makes me like have fond memories. And it's also the one where we started with 14,000 gems and drafted our way to 80,000 gems. This pack has the Flourishing Fox, which is probably the pick if you just want to win. I typically avoid the cycling deck and try to draft Mardu. Lurtry's a reasonable pick because it's an easy include in any deck, but I'm thinking about taking the Rumbling Rock Slide. I can probably put somebody into blue. I could probably put 3 people into blue with this pack. And I don't want to play blue. I want to play Mardu. So we're going to try very hard to signal here and take the Rumbling Rock Slide. If you're drafting on your own for Ikoria and you weren't here for the original set, this is going to look like I'm absolutely insane. Lurtry is red, but I'm not going to be able to utilize it very well. Whereas having 3 removal spells is kind of key for this archetype. All right, here's something else that's going to make me look a little bit insane, but I typically do this regularly. We're very likely to play Mardu and splash back for more. Buckle in, this format is very deep. Mardu is the combination of red, black, and white, and I'm probably going to splash this too. We're coming from Zendikar, which had pretty bad mana, and a core set, which had okay mana, but not really much to do with it. This format has actively good mana, and you can do some stupid things with it. So we're going to see if we can go in that direction. If I do get forced into just black-green, I'll play it. But I'm not looking to do that. Well, you know, 2 back for more pushes me in a slightly different direction. Not that, again, I couldn't splash both of them in Mardu, but it does put me in a position to probably not play Mardu. We could just play Jund, which is the combination of red, black, and green. Those color combinations got named that way based on sets that incorporated a heavy theme of playing 3 colors, much like the guilds of Ravnica kind of formed the name for like why green-blue decks are Simic. You think a format can have 2 good fixing? Yes, I do. Khans of Tarkir had such good fixing that the drafting was actually not very fun. All right, never mind. We're on Mardu stuff. If I only play one of these, I only play one of these, but this is a pretty key pick, and it's a signal that black-white is open, which is usually your base for Mardu. So the secret to this... Thank you very much for the raid, Campbell. Y'all spam some cats for Campbell. The secret to this, and the reason why the Mardu deck worked, is there's a particular rare called Offspring's Revenge, and early in the format, Limited Resources said it was a bad card, which meant nobody would take it, which meant I could almost always get one. And as long as I did, this deck could really work out to be stupid. It usually involves a way to generate a lot of tokens and then sacrifice them for value. So you usually want to start with removal, and then we're going to be looking for cards like General's Enforcer. The cycling cards are not bad. We'll probably take the healer here. I could respect a Sandworm, but I think we can get other stuff to work with the back for more. I think the healer's the pick for us. There's also Bastion of Remembrance, which drains people, and Bushmeat Poacher is a really key card for this archetype. We're interested in the Day Squad Marshals as well, but we can get those later. I want to make sure that we have some decent 2-drops. And the cycling cards play well if we do happen to get an Offspring's Revenge. There is a pretty good combo of cycle a Greater Sandworm and then reanimate it, but that's not my main plan now that we've got a Dire Tactics. There's also plenty of good cyclers in the other colors. So here this is between Rock Slide and the Vantasaur, and I think I just want the other Rock Slide. I will need to wheel the fixing out of these first packs, but I have faith that we'll do that. And if we don't, I can just take it earlier later. So we're probably on just playing 1 back for more. Good grief. Okay, there's all the removal we need for the whole draft. We're done. Boneyard Lurker, again, might look crazy here, but you can just cast this for 2 black. I'm pretty comfortable with that. All right, here's where we start wheeling and picking the fixing pretty highly because we're obviously going to need it. But a lot of people don't prioritize these. We end up with a sandworm anyway. There's also another reanimation spell here. This one gives it lifelink. Now, if I have to back into green-black reanimator, we've actually got a pretty strong start to that as well. And again, we could play Jund and splash this. There's certain cards that will push me in one direction or another. Getting the sandworm that late is a little bit of an indication that we should probably be doing that. None of this really does anything, but I've played Corpse Churn before. It's sort of a weird way to cycle. This is just an okay blocker. So we should leave this out and still consider Jund things. Yeah, I think that means I need to take the Rugged Highlands here. Go for Blood is not bad in a deck like this, but I think we're looking at probably just getting into Jund and splashing for the Rock Slides for removal. This is pretty bad, right? Yeah, it's not great. It's kind of a weird draw too, which like you can do worse. All right. So what if we splashed the Frondland Felidar in our Jund deck? I could just be playing not blue. The mana would have to get really good for that, but when I recorded the Joy of Drafting series, this is literally one of the cards I used to describe what a bomb was in a format. It's that good. It's also possible we could let go of these, pick up some removal somewhere else, and be in black, white, green. That does make the Highlands pick a little sus, but that's okay. Because this thing's very good. This is not. Although I have drafted a deck where it was good before. I really want to pick like a Farfinder, but there's not one here. Deadweight was not particularly good in this format. There's been formats where it was great and formats where it was kind of actively bad. This was one of the ones where it was pretty bad. We could take the Fire Prophecy, but that again pushes us further into a red direction. Which I'm going to have to get really good mana to be able to pull that out, but there's basically nothing else here, so we'll take the Prophecy. Heartless Act was a pretty good removal spell. Blitz Leech was very good too. I'm not entirely sure exactly what we're doing here. We're getting a little bit lost. But I think the packs are leading me towards Abzan. Which isn't Mardu, and that makes me a little sad. But we can make it work. Because I'm losing 3 good removal spells for that. Okie dokie. We're just... Yep. See y'all later. This is now our plan. We're taking garbage stuff to stay alive, and then we're going to reanimate sandworms. And that is the entirety of our deck, because this is so wide open. I can't not play it. We need to prioritize now on the Fox Finders when we see those. Sorry, Bleaches, we got to let y'all go. Glowstone Recluse is okay. I kind of just need 2 drops. This is not an exciting one. I also think white is a little more likely to be our splash here. Yeah, this is a really unexciting 2-drop, but let's get it. Charge of the Forever Beast was okay, but I think I'm most interested in another Sandworm. Like, if this deck isn't cycling Sandworm on 2, I don't even know what we're doing. I'm just going to put this right in the 2-drop slot. That's what I'm about right now. Also note our fixing isn't looking super great now, so we may have to be a little more realistic and get into something like black-green just splashing for the Felidar. Because like the thing about Back for More is it's a reanimate spell, but it's also a removal spell. Capture Sphere was okay, but I think we'll take the Bleach here. It's not bad to reanimate either. So if we're doing that, we're probably looking at something like this, which is not bad, but if the mana gets a little better, I can bring in more white cards. It's a Bloodfell Caves, which isn't precisely what I want, but I certainly don't want any of the rest of this. I guess if the like these two cards means it's probably easier to splash one of the rock slides, which I'll take. Good afternoon, Tulok. All right, this is almost exactly what we want for 2-drops. We can play it early, we can get it back later. Coilbug is very good. Yeah, I don't think white's actually open, which is unusual. I think black-white is going to be open in the next pack, but that's not going to help us much. We've got a bazillion back for mores. We just need to do that. These cards all kind of suck. I think in best of one, I'm not likely to play any of them, but I'll take this to cut green. Wilt is a reasonable include because the cycling is at least not bad, and there are some artifacts and enchantments that are worth blowing up. So if we're short playables, we can play Wilt. And we might be short playables, like that's worth being aware of when the draft is getting to this point. Dark Bargain is always okay. I think if we can just shore up the 2-drops and be on this Reanimator plan, we got this. That was a loud noise for an egg. I guess it's mysterious. Maybe that's why it's so loud. How many back for mores is too many back for mores is a really interesting question. Because I might rather just have a Blood Curdle. At 4, we've basically built our own combo deck, and I just take every 2-mana cycler I see. More than 4 is too many? I'm kind of curious about that. I'm sort of interested in a Humble Naturalist now, too. There's some possibility that I wheel it or get another one anyway, and I think we're going to see one in every game now anyway. I wonder if the Naturalist is actually the pick. Because, like, where I'm hurting is 2-drops. It's not Yorion. I'm going to take this, but there's some consideration that it should actually be the Naturalist. Well, I'm taking the other Sandworm here. No, I'm not. I'm taking the Evolving Wilds. I'm going to be a grown-up. I'm going to be a grown-up. It's a tough pick, but I want to play this Felidar. I guess now I can do it. Because we've got well, I could also just take another Evolving Wilds here and bring in another white card. Like at that point, we could play Dire Tactics. I don't think I need it. But if I do take the other wilds here, we can bring in some of these Jund lands and play at least one Rock Slide. And that's like getting a free Blood Curdle. Okay. I think we want one of those, not 3. 2-drops are kind of what we need, so this is a nice pickup too. Boop. Was this good? It was okay, but I don't have room for a colorless land here. This might be the fabled Gloom Pangolin deck. I could use one more 2-mana cycler. It doesn't have to necessarily be a Sandworm. It could be the 5/5 Haster in red pretty easily. Goriak for the Fronland? That's fair. That's fair. I was thinking I just want something that can block, and this does that and plays nicely with this dude. Alert Herpaderper's not bad either. I like the cycling here, but here's another Vigilance creature that basically does the same thing and can gain us some life and buy time. So I think I like the Alert Herpaderper. Otherwise, I'd be interested in the Vantasaur. Your powers of observation are quite astute. We may have accidentally drafted enough Vigilance creatures that I should consider this. Because I think I can actually get the mana good enough to play 2 white cards. I got out of the plaque business, John. Good old honey mammoth. This fixes us for red and white, which are the two colors we need fixing for. I don't mind a honey mammoth, but we've all heard of the mythical draft where I drafted 6 honey mammoths. I think I actually need this crystal if I'm going to make my mana work. I don't remember wanting to main deck Plump Plumes. I do remember playing Adventurous Impulse over a forest in quite a few decks. So I think we're going to take that just because I'm short playables. Oh, that's a nice spin. That's a nice spin. And that works too. Okay, I think we got a plan. It seems like a good plan. Plummet for the sideboard. Adventurous Insult. That does sound better. Yeah, this plays very differently from Zendikar, and I enjoyed this format a lot more. Again, complaining about best of 3, etc. But you could do wacky stuff with the mana here if you knew what you were doing, and it was a much slower format generally. Now, there were some aggro decks, and we'll probably see more of them in best of 1 queues than we would in best of 3, but having Evolving Wilds in a set changes things quite a bit. So we're at 20 playables here. We're going to have to include a few cards that I don't particularly care for. I don't think I want to play 2 Rock Slides. I think I like the 1 Rock Slide. Well, I might could get away with it with that crystal. What's our creature count at? 13. I probably need to just play 2 creatures, even if they're not very good. So this one might look like it's a little bit crazy, but I can include it, and if we happen to have the white to be able to play it early, neat. If we don't, I can cycle it to find things that matter. Yeah, we're kind of 1 card short. I'm thinking about Wilt, and I'm thinking about Rumbling Rockslide. This was basically an 18 land format all the time, but I don't think I'm going to do that in best of 1. Man, it's a shame not to be able to sideboard because we've got some good sideboard cards. I think that means we probably include 1 more Rock Slide and play the Wilt. And this deck is really just kind of committed to the combo of cycle a Sandworm, bring it back, and hope that's good enough to win. And it often will be. So we're going to need to make sure we have enough green and black to get started for starters, right? So I'd like to get in at least 8 sources of each. Six, 7, 8. That leaves me 3 lands left. So we clearly need a plains and a mountain. I think 1 mountain should be enough. And then the other 2 slots can be plains, which will give us a slightly higher chance of playing the healer, but I mean it's still not particularly likely. Yeah, a lot of people didn't care for the cycling that was in this set. I think that was really my only complaint. And my solution to that was just not to draft the cycling deck. Like, I didn't enjoy it. It was kind of like playing solitaire. Well, this ends up with us playing 17 lands, which I think is reasonable. Now, if we were in actual best of 3 without a hand smoothing algorithm, I would still be playing 18 lands in this deck. Like, that was generally where you wanted to be. All right, are we ready for this battle? I believe that we are. Yeah, started early. We got a draft to do. Burninate the countryside, yo. My mage. No, my mage died. But Snuss's mage is still alive. The mages are really good against shadow dudes. We need those tanks to switch over real quick or we're in danger. Okay, they did. We're probably fine. That's a close fight, though. You could keep the one-landers a lot easier because of the one-mana cyclers. I think if the one-mana cyclers had cycled for their color instead of cycled for colorless, the set would have been really good. All right, we've got Falco with the kills, Wizard's Beard with the assists, gold for Chrono Cage, Keep, Widget, and Scrolls for Chrono. Not close at all? I mean, maybe a little close. Maybe a little close. I'm gonna get back over here so I can tank for y'all. Boop. All right, let's get some games in. Yeah, like, Cons was a good set, but it had some issues as well, Sacramenthal. Let's see if I can get away with this mana base. I was always stretching the bounds of what was reasonable to play in Ikoria, and that made each of the drafts feel different. Well, we've got part one of the plan. Zombie Mama. Like I said, there are aggro decks. I didn't particularly like any of them, but this is not a bad start for one of them. We're going to kind of lean on what we're doing being more powerful, which it hopefully is. Don't take my other sandworm. Please. Oh, okay. Let's get an alert Herpaderper. No, I'd probably rather him kill this first and play that next turn. I really need to Heartless Act something next turn and cycle the worm. Let's just gain the life. I don't have to block with it if we're worried about mutate shenanigans. And if it's just eating a removal spell and gaining me one life, that's fine. Sure, this is fine too. This is a card I never wanted in the Mardu deck, even though I really drafted, like, I prioritize these little dudes. Well, maybe I'm pretty happy just running out the other Goriak here. Because I can't kill that now, and I don't even really want to. It's a 1/1 with lifelink, who cares? They can put counters on it, but like Heartless Act has 2 modes. They could sort of get me with like a post-combat mutate, and the combat trick. I don't see how we're worried here. I think we're not, given that. No need to attack. Mutate is sorcery speed for most creatures. However, there were a few flash ones. Oh, they were in blue. I'm assuming they're not mono black. They may be, which is fine if that's their jam. That's a little uncomfortable. Does that thing have death touch? It does. And I can't kill it with Heartless Act because it has a counter on it. Heartless Act says kill a creature with no counters or remove counters. But it's not that scary. So if I cycle this one, I'm probably just going to hit more lands. I think I want to save this one to actually cast, just in case the top card is actually a land, because that would be kind of terrifying. Well, it can remove the counters and make it a 2/2, so I can actually trade here, which is what we're going to try to do there. Nah, because I'll just, yeah, it would still get the counters off of it. I mean, they know about the bleach. I was assuming they weren't going to attack. And now we're a little bit ahead. Just a little bit. But there was infinite fixing in this format between Farfinder, Evolving Wilds, and Dual Lands. It was very plentiful to fix, regardless of which color pair you wanted to play. So for those of you watching on YouTube wondering why I'm playing Best of One, I wanted to try something a little bit different than Zendikar, and I'd been waiting until Kaladesh Remastered came out so I could play that, but they just announced that it'll be available in Best of 3 for a week, which is perfect. I'll play it in Best of 3 for a week, and then we can go back to Zendikar. That means I don't have to save all of my Best of One frustration for Kaladesh Remastered, and we can go back and draft Ikoria, which I really did enjoy. And like we were looking to go Mardu here, but we didn't get the pieces. And it may be that there's a lot of people drafting this that didn't draft it when it was live, and like they don't remember that, you know, people said a particular mythic that I wanted was bad. That's fine. It was a good one, wasn't it? All right, this is fine. Oop. We'd like to get red with this, so we're going to see if we can cycle into a green source. There's a lot of green sources in the deck. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I don't really see any reason to wait. Yeah, so there's our green source. We can get red with this, and we've already got all 4 colors. Here I'm going to pop the wilds before I draw because I would not like to draw another land for a little bit. We'd rather draw a little bit of action. Except I forgot to do that, but that's okay because I wanted that rock slide. I knew the rock slide was on top. So I wanted to make sure that we got it. And this is not the best Heartless Act I've ever seen, but it does let me double spell here, which I like. That card's actually a little bit scary. It gives menace creatures triple menace. If they kill this, I don't care. I still get the 4/4. We do it over, I get that to cycle again next turn. And the 4/4. I think I'd rather have the 1 mana cycling than this. But the Coil Bug was a great platform to mutate off of, because if they kill your dude, it's not that bad. You can buy the Coil Bug back later. Mutate could really set you up to get 2 for 1. Sometimes people don't draw lands. That happens too. And that may be a thing from Best of 1, right? Like, people are used to playing 15, 16 land decks, and this format was wanted many more lands than that. Tin Man had an axe and wanted a heart. Does that count? No, he wanted a brain, didn't he? No, the Scarecrow wanted a brain. The Tin Man wanted a heart. And Travis wanted the corn dog. Is good. All right, what's part of you? Look, a 2-drop. And I think I'm pretty happy to have a 2-drop. I think I'd rather block that. But they may have something. I can't particularly race it. But we can hold up the cycle or the Heartless Act here. That's real good, Floppy. Well, I know I'm gonna... Well, yeah, I'm gonna Heartless Act that. But I'm also gonna cycle this, so let's just make it work. Because that does need to die. There is Essence Scatter in the format, and I'd really like them not to have it here, but I'm not choosing not to play around it. It's more likely that they're holding up something to cycle. Didn't anticipate that, though. I did watch Care Bears in the 80s. And Gummy Bears. Pardon me. I'm going to save this in case they got a combat trick. There's a 2 mana turn your dude into a 4/4 in blue, and we could really blow that out here. That one too. Hey, that's the other one I was talking about. They had both. This is already threatening. I'd rather make the 2/2 threatening. Because we just, unless they kill my creatures, we just kill 2 things and win the video game. And I really would need to hit a land off of this. But I don't think that's going anywhere. I do need to kill this. I'll try for the land now. That fox was a problem in the cycling deck, and Jeskai cycling is a deck you could make. Like, it's going to get particularly big here. I don't think it's going to get bigger than a 7/7. This is doing 5 damage. This is probably good enough to kill him before we even get to do the thing. With any luck, they Zenith Flare this to stay alive, and then we just get to demoralize them. They're looking for something. Well, I guess they cycled into that. There you go. Playing against the cycling deck really felt like playing against someone who's playing solitaire, and I didn't particularly care for it. And I didn't like playing it either. So I think it was definitively the best deck in Ikoria, but I never tried to draft it. Four Seasons Landscaping. Ha ha ha. I see what you did there. I think it's a sleeping dragon, isn't it, Marty? Maybe it's a goblin. I couldn't really tell. I got the cat pet, so I didn't really look at the other pets too closely. Because once you have, well, I have a cat, and I have the Aloha dog. Once you have those two, you don't really need any of the others because you've got the best two. But I think it's a dragon sleeping on a pile of gold. I'm very excited that I'm often critical of decisions that are made about Arena because many of them move away towards competitive drafting. But the decision to include Kaladesh Remastered as a best of 3 format has me really excited. They also announced a draft challenge, which if you play draft and constructed could be a lot of fun. The reward is a bunch of packs, and I can't do anything with the packs, so that doesn't really mean much to me, but that's also another push in the right direction of competitive drafting events. Have you seen the Aloha dog? If you've seen the Aloha dog and still think that, that's okay. But you have to have seen the Aloha dog first. Baby Godzilla. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, Rocky. I think I like that doggo. It's a good boy. Who's a good boy? This card's actually a little scary. It makes mutate things cost cheaper, and when you mutate, you loot. It does kind of encourage them to like stack all of their stuff onto one creature, but frankly, so does this. So we may actually be dead here to a Sultai mutate deck. I probably need a Heartless Act pretty darn fast. Because I tell you what's not going to help is that Heal Bonder. All right, I'm going to try to slow the bleeding here, and then next turn play the Savai Crystal and the Coil Bug. And then hopefully we can hit some success. It's possible they don't have a Dreamtail Heroine to mutate onto this, but it's pretty unlikely. Okay, Ominous Seas we're not scared of, which is good. We like this. Why do we like it? Let me show you. I don't even need to do it yet. Counter spells exist. I'll do it during their turn. This is still an instant. Oh, now they're tapped out. Let's just get it. Joke's on you. That was about what I was going to do next turn anyway. This is the last turn for them to mutate on that and really mess us up. So naturally, they mutate onto it and really mess us up. I got to discard the land. Because I'm going to need the bleach to kill that. Well, I could double block it, right? They have to have something, don't they? Yeah, they do. That's fine. That means they don't have that for the bleach. And we're not down that far. I could also try to cast a 7/7 here. There's a lot less interaction at instant speed, though. And I suppose if they had an Essence Scatter, this is fine too, because we got it out of their hand. And now we can cast the 7/7. The only real issue is it can't block that. Blood Curdle 2. Okay, so now we need one of the 3 back for Moors or we're functionally dead. We may be functionally dead anyway. Yeah, we kind of are. Because with that having a menace counter and this having a menace counter, we're in trouble. I don't think we can actually get down to the actual card under this to see it. But it's a mutator, which is kind of like a potator, but it makes 3/3s when you mutate on top of it. So they just got a little too much value going there for us. And we didn't hit one of the reanimate spells. They had the right counters for what we were trying to do. I think it's called Bognar or something. It's a good card. It's a real good card. I'm not used to like the games going so fast. That's kind of nice in best of 1 as well. But it is nice to kind of break it up and draft something different for a change. You guys on YouTube, let me know in the comments whether you like seeing different draft formats like these when they come up, or if you'd prefer to see the best of 3 stuff. Because I'm probably still going to be working some Zendikar in, I imagine, while I'm doing Kaladesh. But I plan to stream both. But let me know in the comments what you like best. What do you guys that are watching like better? Do you like going back and drafting some of these fun formats? Or are you like, man, I want to see Zendikar. I don't know what all these old cards are. Oh, it's Trumpeting Gunnar. Well, that's got a plan. I do like a plan. I thought I had a coal bug cosmetic. I'm kind of disappointed that I don't now. Makes me sad. I think mana efficiency dictates that I play the crystal here and then look to cycle and beetle next turn. That's fair, Widdit. That's fair. Probably have to go for the worm if you're them. Or if you're super big brained, you could take the coal bug. We did manage to make a blue-black flash deck that was quite good. They may regret not taking that worm. What's up, Crud? How you doing today, bud? Interesting line to take. Pick on somebody your own size. Yeah, this draft went pretty good. I'm feeling better today. I had not been feeling well for a little while, and now I'm feeling better. And that's good. Sure. It's a different one. We've played two. I'm probably going to be doing a few more Ikoria drafts because I enjoy them. And since Kaladesh Remastered is coming out in best of 3, that means we can do things like this. It is. That was the big news today. There will be best of 3 drafting available for Kaladesh Remastered. So I can enjoy some Ikoria in best of 1. And then it's only out for a week. We only get it for a week. But I'll just play it for a week and get it all out of my system. That's funny, Campbell. They've answered 2 worms so far, but we got more. We've got 2 more back for moors and 2 more worms, so there's still 4 worms left in the deck. That's a lot of worms. You can kind of see how good these coil bugs are. Ask your doctor if worms are right for you. Dude, the spice must flow. I don't know if we're getting the rope of salt or if they're thinking through their plays. Wow, okay. So they're going to get a 2 for 1 here, and we're going to kill that. But that is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. Looks like they're getting nothing. No, they're getting a 4/6 mutator. Kind of have to kill this. I'm terrified about what else they have if they're just willing to sacrifice that. I guess they were down for the value, but then milling one of our back for moors takes another worm out of the deck, which is actually somewhat disappointing. It's unlikely they're going to kill us with any of this, but if we keep drawing lands, they could get ahead from here. I could also draw a removal spell one day. Like, that'd be pretty cool. You know, or just lands. That's all right, too. I like lands. Lands are good. You can't cast your spells without lands, so it's important to draw them. These mentors could get out of hand given enough time. And that's kind of what we're doing here, is just giving our opponent infinite time. I may be in a position where I need to start chomping this, because I don't think I can take 10. It has menace too? Good God. Why does everything have menace? Well, that means my only choice is to top deck a removal spell and take the 10. This puts it back in hand, right? Is there anything cheap enough I can get out that does something here? Haberdasher gains me 2 life, which I suppose is okay. And it does sort of give me a platform that could realistically block some of this. Never mind. Again, one of the better cards in the set. Oh, God. That's brutal, dude. We're dead. They didn't see it. They had me dead on board there, but instead we get to draw another card and then be dead on board. Because this also has menace. So if they attack with this, I'm still forced to double block. So I do technically get to see another card, I just can't actually do anything with it. Yeah, in essence, Symbiote's not going to do it for us there. Blah. All right. I remember being worried about harvesters getting eaten by sandworms. Dune was a fun game. Let's do our Stream Raider battle and then see if we can finish our 7 wins here. Yeah, I had some good draws too. But as I have famously said, if you put good cards in your deck, you'll probably draw good cards. Our first Ikoria draft was a 7-0 with Mardu. This one needs a little bit more combo potential. Because if we're cycling the worms, we kind of have to draw the back for Moors. And if we draw the back for Moors first, then we're kind of in trouble if we don't draw the worms. Whereas the Mardu deck kind of was just playing value creatures and then looking to abuse the tokens late game. Well, that poor guy was trying to fight the rogue and couldn't. Get wrecked. We've got David with the kills, Rocky with the assists. Gold for Four Seasons Landscaping, Rolling Rock, Nil, and Chrono Cage. We up against a boss fight. Bring your big game. That's going to be a tough one to get through. All right, I'll lead the charge up here. And I apologize, YouTube. I say I'm never going to do this, but I always do this. I need a short break. I'll be right back. Chat will keep you entertained for just a minute. I'll be right back, folks. All right, thank you for your patience. I think you got to get 5 wins to break even in these, right? I haven't done them in so long, I don't remember. I kind of need the punchline now, Falco. You can't leave me hanging like that. Or is pretty close. Yeah, I guess we're getting gems from all the rares in this too. Because we had this whole set. This is not great, but it's a keeper. We kind of do need to get green with this, which is super awkward. Well, I suppose one could make an argument that you should get white, because we do know we have the Keen Sight Mentor, and I'm more likely to draw green than literally anything else. I think I want to have the coil bug in play, but I could also just wait another turn. The issue is waiting another turn before we yoink a land out means it's going to be a little harder to cycle the sandworm. This is a little bit of a spot where the algorithm is working against me, but I think I'm going to wait a turn and see if we can naturally hit a land, because that makes it a lot more clear what we should fetch with this. We whiffed. It is what it is. Now we just need to find a land, and again, it's more likely to be green than anything else. So I think we take the white. There's a possibility that we're just on the receiving end of a beat down here and we can't do anything about it. Well, another cycler's not bad. Good grief. Another plains wouldn't even be the worst. Like, we can cast the coil bug when we're ready. I cycled the 2-mana one there because next turn I could conceivably cycle this and play the coil bug. But all we can do is kind of work through the probabilities in math. Like, this is Schrodinger's card until we draw it. Here, I'm going to cycle the 1-mana cycler, because again, with the land, I could play the coil bug, or decide that I want to cycle this. I don't think I'm that concerned about it, and I'd rather just have something to block here. Cycling doesn't technically kill them, it just means you're discarding it and drawing another card. But we should be feeling pretty stable with the Goriak and the Mentor. Like, that kind of creates a situation where they have to deal with stuff. Again, assuming we draw lands. I'd really like to draw lands. Why can't an elephant ride a bike? I don't know, old man. Why? Dang it, Bobby. We kind of need to hit another land. And have a thumb to ring the bell. Okay, we'll take it. They're not milling themselves with the Skull Prophet. You can tap this for mana or tap it to mill yourself. Generally speaking, in green-black, you'd want to mill yourself. It's not bad. It's not bad. Is that relevant? I see what you did there. Well, I appreciate you going the extra length to try to find that answer for us. Brushwag can be scary if they're able to mutate onto it. But I feel like we just got too many options here. We're probably good. That one looked like it was going to be scary for a minute. I'm going to let that resolve and then fight both of them. Like, I think I'd rather them have this 3/3 than a trumpeting Gnar. Oh, that doesn't help you cast counter spells, my friend. Sorry. They're about to be really frustrated, is my guess. Because this looks, it's 1 mana of any color, but it can only cast creature spells. I think they got auto tap wrecked. This is good to know that they have a counter spell in hand. It may be a combat trick. No, it couldn't be a combat trick either. Like, that's not a thing you can do. I was kind of hoping we'd draw another land here, but we didn't. I think that means we're going to main phase Bleach, because I do feel like they have another counter spell. Although if they're going to do this and give me a freebie, we'll take it. Yeah, we've got a lot of back for mores. What about second breakfast? That is sadly not going to be enough unless they do have a really good counter spell. I believe they saw the sign. So we're close to breaking even here, which is nice. One more win and we did, which would be nicer. Couple more wins and we're up. That'd be nice. We sure did. That was a crazy day. Thank you for being a big part of it, Crud. And I appreciate the support from you guys and gals over the past week and a half. Like, we've hit goals that I thought we might be hitting towards the end of the month. Really less than 2 weeks in. I guess less than a week and a half in. So it seems like y'all want to see some more magic. We will make that happen. Don't mind if I do. Man, Ikoria was a lot of fun. It's really a blast to come back and draft this again. To see more stream writers. We'll see what we can do, John. I'm good, Smart. How you be? Glad to hear it, my friend. I probably should have cycled that on my turn. I also could have attacked. But I was looking at chat. Isn't that what streamers say when they screw up? We kind of need to keep hitting those lands. The reason to cycle first is in case I hit a tap land. Sure. That is a pretty valid target for that. That kind of does need to die, but it doesn't need to die right this second. Because we're playing a particularly long game. And I could get in a situation where I draw another cycler and can Heartless Act it. I do want to go ahead and get it here, but again, I drew another cycler. We can do that and Heartless Act it. Smart money's on doing this upkeep. I don't want to use the Wilt to free up a Coil Bog. That is the best card in the set. And we are going to hopefully kill it. Shame to miss out on the value from the Menace counter, but I'm not letting them untap with that. Hey, what's up, Band Geek? I wouldn't mind an untapped land. That isn't one, but that's okay. Let's go find a land and then kill Lurrus. I really enjoyed it, No Potty. Skelinate, thank you for the Corgo bits.
Bit cheering to get that land.
I do enjoy winning. I'm a huge fan of winning. I think I would pick winning over losing every time. Yeah, I know there's people that enjoy Pod Draft more. I don't, but Pod Draft was not for me. I felt like Ikoria had some of those, but if you bump into the cycle deck a lot, I suspect that you would feel differently. So I can appreciate that too. It didn't feel like there were a lot of meaningful ways to interact with that deck. But with the hand smoother, I figured we only needed to play 5 lands. So pod drafting is when you draft against 7 other people and then you play against the people you drafted with, which means you'll have more information about what was open in the draft, but you'll also wait sometimes between 10-20 minutes between games, which can be a bit much. I'd say this is going great so far. I can't really attack here because as soon as they figure out that they can block me to death, we're in trouble. Now that said, a worm should still make quick work of them, but that Bastion, this is the card I was talking about that you want for your Mardu decks. So now every time something dies, I get drained for 1. You combo with that with a bushmeat poacher, and all of a sudden you can drain people, gain life, draw cards. Pretty good. Now I didn't use it with Whisper Squad because there were better ways to take advantage of it. We did draw land. That's good. So we can start the squad now. Yeah, I wish we could get the wilt back from the graveyard, but sadly we don't have the ability to do that. And our first back for more looks like it's not even going to be that great. And I cannot take this damage. We're chomping. Right on time. So a Bleach could trade for that. But I think I just need to make sure that this is over and done with. And then take 4 and then start the fun train. Because I'm not dealing with this. So I really don't like using it as a removal spell here, but 7/7 is just going to kill me. That is unfortunate. And that's how we lose. We don't draw enough lands. That sucks. Ooh. Well, you can do pod drafting in person or online. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you can see the people or not. There's always game 2. Except when there isn't. I think our best bet now may be to try to bleach it. Which is still not going to end well in our favor. But I do suspect we're dead, because our life total will be too low there, and we don't really have any life gain. Goodbye, Fair Bleach. We barely knew ye. Yep, that'll do, bud. That'll do, pig. We could fight a 1/1 and block a worm, but now that would kill us. So the game's essentially over unless there's some life gain in the deck that I forgot about. But I don't actually believe there is. If we'd hit that land a little sooner and been able to, and that's why I chump blocked very early with the 2/4, is like once your life total's around 10, any deck that's running Bastion can just drain you for lethal. Because like suddenly blocking them does as much damage as not blocking them. But we got there. Unfortunate, but we take these. So that'll do it for the YouTube draft for today. I appreciate you guys and gals on YouTube tuning in. If you'd like to see the draft action happening live, you can do so at www.twitch.tv/Semulin and come hang out with chat and play Stream Raiders and see me do more drafts. So I hope you'll stop by and visit the stream, and we'll see you next time for more YouTube drafts.